All righty, we're recording. Hey, Chrissy.
Hi, Gwen.
We're here today to do a little tapping demo for the eczema community. Chrissy and I have been tapping for a little while now, and she offered to do a demo with me so that you guys can see what tapping looks like and what it feels like, instead of just hearing us talk about tapping. And so I'm really excited to do this with you today, Chrissy.
I'm excited to do it too.
And we were, just before I turned on the record button, we were talking about what she wanted to work on today. And that would be, something that you guys would relate to. And when we're talking about children having eczema, as Chrissy says, there's a lot of things, right?
Yeah. The bag of emotions, giant bag.
And the other piece that you have told me is once you started working on your own emotions with tapping, then what happened with Elsie?
As her emotions have calmed quite a bit, and I can see in her when I'm allowing myself to be heightened in my emotions, and she responds in a way now that allows me to understand, maybe, okay, it's me, I'm the one creating this, and I can now help bring myself back down. I have a wonderful tool to use, and it's created an amount of peace in our home that I can't explain, but you have to feel. And so I say it all the time, everyone should tap. And so I'm here to show you why you should tap, because it's life-changing, not for just us, but for our kids, which is why we're here in the first place. We were here to heal our children. Maybe our children are here to heal us also.
Ooh, that's a powerful one. Isn't that true? Yes, that's really good. So excellent. So we were kind of, brainstorming some things to start with. And what we came up with is what you told me, is that you feel like you've accomplished so much, but there's still so much more to accomplish that it feels overwhelming. Does that feel accurate?
Yes.
And so,
yeah.
So when we're, go ahead, I'm sorry.
When, some of our issues are, eczema, obviously it's on the skin surface, and so everyone can see. And a lot of what we have been able to heal with Elsie has been internal. And so while her skin still doesn't look, like everyone thinks it should, the rest of things,
everyone meaning your family and friends, yes, right?
Exactly. Okay. Yes. That she's healed so much on the inside that they don't even recognize that. It's hard to see. They aren't around enough to realize that we don't have to be so cautious about cats or dogs or dust or all of these allergens, or that other things are no longer triggers. They only see what's on the surface. So it's overwhelming that, they have all these opinions, and not just that, but then, we've been doing this for a long time. She was born with it. She's 8 years old. And I was told up for 5 years that it was going to grow out of it. There was a date. So accepting that there is no date, and that our lives can be just as fabulous with or without eczema, is been huge. And me accepting that in my child has allowed her growth, I think, tremendously. She is more accepting of herself. She says things like, I'm strong enough to stand up about that. and Mom, I wouldn't have felt that way even. She goes, I think turning 8 changed me. She turned 8 in May. We can say that changed her. I'm going to go with, I think we've all changed.
even past your 8-year-old birthday, right?
Yeah.
So, well, excellent, Chrissy. So when you say, for those who haven't experienced tapping, what we like to do is to come up with that setup statement, which is what we were just describing. And when you say, I feel like we've accomplished a lot, but there's more to accomplish and it feels overwhelming. Do you feel that in your body anywhere? And let me just quickly give people who are listening, where we typically feel it is we feel it, pressure, tension, and tightness in our head, or we feel tears, or a lump in our throat, or pressure or tension or tightness in our chest, or that sick to our stomach, nauseous feeling in our tummy, or tension and tightness across our neck and shoulders where we're, all hunched up because we're stressed and we don't even realize it. And those are the most common places. So when we're thinking about the overwhelm of this, even though we've come so far, but there's still more to do and I feel overwhelmed, where do you feel that in your body?
The tightness in my head, for sure. The whole scalp just sort of, oh, and somewhat sick to my stomach. It's not necessarily nausea, but almost dread.
Okay.
And it was my jaw.
Okay. Okay. And so if you're going to give a feeling to the tightness in your head, is it the tightness? Is that how you would describe the feeling?
Yeah, it's hot. I tend to run hot. So a lot of the time, it's definitely a hot, yeah, tight, stressed type feeling.
Okay. And then in your the stomach is dread.
Mm-hmm.
And then in your jaw, what's that feeling?
Frustration, I think.
Okay, excellent. And then as we discover these things, so if you're wanting to tap along, please come up with something for yourself that kind of resonates. It may not be what Chrissy is talking about, but I would love for you guys to tap along to get what we call borrowing benefits. And so as we go, that will make more sense to you. So Chrissy, the tightness in your head and the hotness, what would be the intensity number? If 0 is nothing and 10 is really high, what number is that right now as you're thinking about that overwhelm?
6.
Okay.
7. It might be 6, 7.
Excellent, excellent. So then what about the dread in your stomach?
I'm going to say that's an 8 because it's actually almost acidic.
Yeah, excellent. And when I say excellent, I don't mean I'm happy she's feeling it. I'm just happy she's able to articulate the feeling because, when do we ever do that? We don't know to do that. And so the frustration in your jaw, what number would you give that?
Yeah, I'm gonna give that an 8 or maybe a 9. Ooh, I get so just clenched.
So as it is right now, right? How you're feeling right now.
I'm gonna say 8.
Okay, excellent. So that's all we need to know to start tapping. And so if you guys want to tap with us, please feel free. And I'll show you because I'm going to be tapping along with Chrissy. So we'll show you the points, their acupressure points that we will be tapping on. And it's designed to calm our nervous system. So that's what our goal is to calm our nervous system while we're doing this, right? So Chrissy, shall we get started? So here on the side of our hand is where we want to tap first. And I'm going to say a phrase and have Chrissy repeat after me like an echo. And then I'll repeat another phrase and so on, and we'll go along. And hopefully we'll leave enough space. So if you guys want to tap along with us and say what you're feeling, that would be great too. So excellent. So let's start here and say, even though I feel like we've accomplished so much,
I feel like we've accomplished so much,
but there's a lot more to accomplish.
but there's a lot more to accomplish.
And it feels overwhelming.
And it feels overwhelming.
I deeply and completely accept how I feel.
Accept how I feel.
Excellent. Now we're going to do 2 more times. Even though we've accomplished so much on this eczema journey,
on our eczema journey,
but there's still so much more to do. And it feels overwhelming. I deeply and completely accept how I feel. Excellent. And for the 3rd time, my glasses are crooked. I didn't even look at myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, there's still so much to do. I deeply and completely accept how I feel. Excellent. So now we're going to go up on our eyebrow point right here. And we're going to say, all this overwhelm. Excellent. Now we're going to go to the other side of our eyebrow right here. All this overwhelm. Okay, put these back on, and under our eye right in the middle, all this overwhelm. Under your nose, we've accomplished so much. On your chin, but there's still so much to do. On your collarbone, I know that there's so much more to do because
my child's not healed 100% yet.
yeah. Under your arm, and this is where your bra strap goes from front to back. I hope you can see. And I just feel so overwhelmed. My child is not healed yet. On your eyebrow, and I want her to be healed. Yesterday. I want her to be healed. And she's not healed yet. And that makes me feel
sad, scared.
I feel sad and scared. I feel sad because
sometimes I feel like she's missing out on being a child.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like she's missing out from being a child. On your eyebrow, and sometimes I feel scared. And I feel scared because remember the first thing.
I feel scared because I don't want her to grow up without a childhood, the type of childhood that I've envisioned for her.
Right. And feeling sad and scared. Reminds me of the time when.
When my brother got kicked by a mule. He was little. He ran up behind him and it sent him flying. And I was in charge of him and I was afraid. I didn't know how he was, between here and there. So before I got him, I was absolutely scared and sad because he got hurt.
And I was only about how old?
I was about 10.
Yeah. And my brother got kicked by the mule, did you say?
When my brother got kicked by the mule.
And that's what I feel
And that's what I feel
when I think about Elsie.
when I think about Elsie.
And I'm open to the possibility
And I'm open to the possibility
that that happened when I was 10 years old.
that happened when I was 10 years old.
And I'm still carrying the sadness and the fear
And I'm still carrying the sadness and the fear
from my 10-year-old's perception.
from my 10-year-old's perception.
And I'm open to the possibility
And I'm open to the possibility
that that's not serving me at all anymore.
that that's not serving me at all anymore.
I'm not 10 years old anymore.
I'm not 10 years old anymore.
I'm all grown up now.
I'm all grown up now.
I have more understanding,
I have more understanding,
more resources,
more resources,
more support
more support
than I did when my brother got kicked by the mule.
than I did when my brother got kicked by the mule.
And it's completely safe now
And it's completely safe now
for me to release this overwhelm
for me to release this overwhelm
and this fear and sadness.
and this fear and sadness.
It's just not serving me at all anymore.
It's just not serving me at all anymore.
And it's completely safe now
And it's completely safe now
for me to release it in every cell of my body,
for me to release it in every cell of my body,
every fiber of my being.
every fiber of my being.
It's not serving me at all anymore.
It's not serving me at all anymore.
And it's completely safe to release it and let it go right now.
And it's completely safe to release it and let it go right now.
What a relief.
What a relief.
What a relief.
What a relief.
Excellent. Let's take a deep breath. Excellent. Did you have any like ahas that popped up during that?
Yeah, I guess I think to some degree I'm concerned about other people's perception of my level of care. So
Oh,
my brother being kicked by the mule, I believe I was scared of my parents' reaction. And if he'd have been really, really hurt, which he was not, that would have been back on me, and they would have, come down on me about that. And raising my children, all of them, including my older kids, they've always kind of, had their opinions and definitely not been afraid to express them. And I guess I was afraid of what they would think of my choices with my children and how I choose to take care of their health, especially Elsie, of course, in this instance.
so let's go back to the, I feel like we've accomplished so much, but there's still so much to accomplish, and it feels overwhelming. You were feeling it in your head, the tightness and the hotness in your head, and you said it was a 6 or a 7. What does that feel like now?
Maybe a 1. I mean, I can kind of feel it, but not really. During this tap, lots of goosebumps for me, which is usually a release. I think I'm starting to learn. So my hair kind of stands on end all over my body, and you get the goose pimples or whatever you call them. And that went away, right? And my stomach, I just don't even. It might still be a 3.
The
But
dread, the dread.
the dread in the stomach, yeah. But the frustration in my jaw, I could feel myself clenching it so bad before, and I feel like it's hanging loose.
Well, what number would you give that in your jaw?
I can't decide if it's just tight from being clenched for so long there for a few minutes, but I'm gonna say a 1 or a 2 just because I can feel it, but I don't know that it's connected.
Absolutely, absolutely. So So what's kind of the aha from how much this has dropped? Because the tightness in your head went from a 6 to a 7 to a 1. The sick to your stomach dread feeling went from an 8 to a 3. And your jaw and the frustration in your jaw went from an 8 to a 1 or 2.
I'm gonna say I have more support now. I have more tools now. I have more wisdom and knowledge. Those when we said those words, that's some of the goosebumps I got, and it was like, you don't have to be overwhelmed. You know what to do. It's okay that it's still going to take a little time. Would you expect any less? Nothing worth having comes easy.
But you were feeling the eczema through your 10-year-old's perspective, weren't you?
Yeah.
Based on your brother getting kicked by the donkey, the mule.
Yeah.
Isn't that trippy how that happens? I just think it's so, and that's why I call myself an inner child advocate. And people get scared talking about their inner childhood. And in fact, that's what happens. Chrissy just did a beautiful example of what happens. It's in there and it's holding us back and it's causing fear and sadness and overwhelm. And we have no idea it's in there. And so let's just check in. We just have a few more minutes. So let's just check in and think about that sick to your stomach, that dread in your stomach. That's still about a 3.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that 3 might represent?
I think that is, even with all of the support of my eczema community and all Rebecca, you, and all the friends I've made through this group, I still do this by myself.
And when you say by yourself, you mean like your husband or your family? You mean no, meaning they don't help you?
Correct.
Okay.
To some degree. I mean, they what they can, but they have to live by their beliefs also. So.
And what's the emotion about that?
Sadness.
Sucks.
Yeah. They've all been super important to me, and I've definitely done what I feel is a lot to help take care of each and every one of them. And I'm learning through tapping that we, I don't even know how the best way to say it, that just they're doing the best they can too, the best that they know, the best that they've got the tools for.
And it makes me feel,
well, it makes me feel good to know that I've seen progress in each of them and that they all want to try and help.
And it makes me feel
angry, sad, alone.
And where do you feel that?
In my heart.
Yeah. One sec here. Okay, excellent. Shall we? Okay, and if anybody else is tapping along, please jump on board with us. And so, even though I do have a lot more support than I did.
I do have a lot more support than I did.
When I was 10 years old.
When I was 10 years old.
But I'm still doing it alone.
I'm still doing it alone.
And it makes me feel angry.
And it makes me feel angry.
Sad.
Sad.
And alone.
And alone.
I deeply and completely accept how I feel.
Accept how I feel.
Even though I do have more support than I did when I was 10.
I do have more support than I did when I was 10.
but I still don't have the support that I really want.
but I still don't have the support that I really want.
I know they're doing the best they can,
I know they're doing the best they can,
but I really want more support.
but I really want more support.
I'm angry because they're not supporting me
I'm angry because they're not supporting me
the way I need them to support me.
the way I need them to support me.
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
accept how I feel,
accept how I feel,
even though I feel sad
even though I feel sad
that they're not supporting me the way I need them to support me.
that they're not supporting me the way that I need them to support me.
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
accept how I feel,
accept how I feel,
even though I feel so alone,
even though I feel so alone,
because the people that I want to support me
because the people that I want to support me
aren't.
aren't.
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
accept how I feel.
accept how I feel.
I feel so alone
I feel so alone
and sad
and sad
and angry
and angry
that the people that I want to support me the most
that the people that I want to support me the most
aren't able to.
aren't able to.
I feel sad,
I feel sad,
alone,
alone,
and angry because
and angry because I feel like they should try harder.
I feel like they should try harder,
I feel like they should try harder,
and they don't.
and they don't.
And when they don't try harder,
And when they don't try harder,
that makes me feel
that makes me feel insignificant, that
yeah,
I'm not worth even educating themselves a little bit for, or my child is not worth it.
I've done so much for them.
I've done so much for them,
I've done so much for all of them,
done so much for all of them,
but I feel like I'm insignificant and unworthy.
I feel like I'm insignificant and unworthy,
And my child is insignificant and unworthy
and that my child is insignificant and unworthy
for them to even try.
for them to even try.
And that reminds me of the time when
And that reminds me of the time when I'm going to say my parents got divorced. I know I've tapped on this before, but
it may be another layer.
when
So when my parents got divorced,
my parents got divorced,
I was only about how old?
or
I was 4 years old.
I was 4 years old,
And my parents got divorced.
and my parents got divorced.
And it makes me feel
And it makes me feel I just didn't understand. I thought I was more important to my dad than to him to leave. And my mom tried to be so strong. And couldn't, I mean, she did, she raised us, she did it, but it wasn't without her own sacrifices.
and it made me feel insignificant.
And it made me feel insignificant. And the unworthy, really, like that I wasn't good enough to stick around for or to try hard enough for.
Yeah. And I've been carrying all these feelings in my body
And I've been carrying all these feelings in my body
ever since they got divorced.
ever since we got divorced.
Ever since, but what's the picture that you have in your head from your 4-year-old self about your dad left, right?
Honestly, I remember sitting on our couch and hearing mom and dad yelling at each other or something or other. Not, I don't know what it was exactly they said, but, and dad kind of got real loud and huffy, and then he left.
And
then we
from
were
that
leaving.
day forward,
And from that day forward,
I felt unworthy,
I felt unworthy,
that he didn't try hard enough.
that he didn't try hard enough.
He didn't try hard enough.
He didn't try hard enough.
He must not have loved me enough,
He must not have loved me enough.
or I must not have been lovable.
Or maybe I wasn't lovable.
Does that feel accurate?
Mhm.
And I've been carrying these feelings in my body
And I've been carrying these feelings in my body
from my 4-year-old's perspective
from my 4-year-old's perspective
ever since he walked out that day.
ever since he walked out that day.
And I was sitting on the couch
I was sitting on the couch
and not understanding.
and I didn't understand.
And I'm open to the possibility
And I'm open to the possibility
that those feelings served me
that those feelings served me
for a lot of years.
for a lot of years.
They're just not serving me anymore.
And they're just not serving me anymore.
So it's completely safe now
Completely safe now
for me to release those feelings
for me to release those feelings
and let them go.
and let them go.
They're just not serving me at all anymore.
They're just not serving me at all anymore.
And it's safe to release them in every cell of my body.
And it's safe to release them in every cell of my body.
Those 4-year-old feelings.
Those 4-year-old feelings.
It's safe for me to release them in every fiber of my being.
It's safe for me to release them in every fiber of my being.
And it's just safe.
And it's safe.
I'm just not 4-year-olds, 4 years old anymore.
I'm just not 4 years old anymore.
What a relief.
What a relief.
What a relief.
What a relief.
Let's go ahead and take a deep breath.
I'm not sure I can say I'm ready to release it without taking a deep breath. And I don't think I can say what a relief without taking a deep breath either. I've just caught on to this. I was like, oh, there it is again. So I definitely feel better, that's for sure. And gosh.
So what's it feeling like, that dread in your stomach about people not, being concerned, what you were saying about being concerned about what other people's perception is?
Yeah. I don't feel any dread in my stomach now.
Like it went to a 3.
Yeah.
And now it's not feeling like anything?
No.
So what's kind of the aha about this? Can you see something a little bit differently now or feel it differently?
Well, it solidifies the connection between my subconscious and things that have happened in my childhood, and what I've already thought, exactly what you've been teaching. That I do, on this path through tapping, I can get to it every single time. And here, I'm 41 years old. I was 4 then. 37 years later, I can still access that memory. I just have to take the right path.
Like that.
Yeah. And now to be able to have an inner child advocate be there and hold my childhood hand and say it's okay, we can let this go, and that's just huge. It solidifies it all to me. My connection with my dad and how much I have always my self-worth from him. Like I've allowed him to feed me what my worthiness would be. Not necessarily, I don't know, feed me, but like I got it from him. Like I would get any praise from him or not praise. was taken wholeheartedly, deep.
Yeah,
Where with
absolutely.
my mom, it wasn't really like that. Mom loved me unconditionally. It wasn't because of this or lack thereof this. It was unconditional. No matter what, I was loved by mom. But dad, I had to make him proud, or I had to do things the right way. Even though I don't know that he thinks that that's the way he was raising us.
But it doesn't matter what they think they're doing.
Which is why I accepted it all this time, because I just chalk it up to, well, he didn't know any better, or, that's kind of the way grandma and grandpa were, or.
And you felt it the way you felt it from your 4-year-old's perception and your 10-year-old's perception. And that's what we forget to pay attention to.
Yes.
And then when something like that happens, like when your parents got divorced, we think that the divorce is the trauma.
Right.
But what happens is, who can you go to talk about this with? Who did you go and talk to about it with?
My sister, but she's 2 at the time. So that wasn't a whole lot of help. There was no one.
Right.
Couldn't go to grandma's and grandpa's because it was their son or daughter, and they were the only other real people in our lives, maybe.
That was the trauma, Chrissy. That was the trauma. And when you were 10 and your brother got kicked by the mule, and you were so concerned you were going to get in trouble by your parents, or they were going to have feelings about it, who did you talk to about it?
My sister again, but I was 10 and she was 8.
Again,
Yeah.
that was the trauma.
Right.
You didn't have anyone to process it with and have them help you say, it wasn't your fault. You did the best you could,
Right.
and you're going to be okay, type of a conversation.
Yeah.
Like we're able to do during tapping.
Right. Right. Yes. And see, when my brother got kicked, it was actually my dad and my stepmom, who we didn't have a very good relationship, she and I. And so there was, a lot of fear in that it wasn't just that they were going to be angry because my brother got hurt, or, worse, but that she had some, weird control over my dad, and he would stop talking to me. So.
Right. And as a kid, that's unacceptable.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to blame ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And carry it with us until we're able to process and heal it.
Yeah.
But how do we know how to process and heal it?
Right.
We don't.
Okay.
And so that's why tapping is so beneficial, because who knew that those things that happened to you when you were 4 and 10 are still, you're still carrying them with your experience with eczema with Elsie.
Right.
This is brilliant, Chrissy.
It feels pretty brilliant. I gotta say, I kind of want to go do a happy dance.
All right, well, you guys, this is what tapping is all about. So would you like to give anybody any final comments about doing this?
Just do it. It's offered. Just try. And that's it. Like you're gonna know. It only takes one session for you to feel it yourself. And no one can explain the feeling to you, because we all feel it differently. But I think the one thing that goes along with tapping in everyone's testimonial is it's good. And so, it may seem overwhelming, and I did not want to dig any demons. When I came to the eczema expert, I came to heal my child. End of story. I was fine. Nothing wrong with me. We're working. Life's good. And no, it wasn't. So.
But it was subconscious. You didn't know.
Yes. So if you're in the position like I was, where you are doing all of these things and it's helping a little, but you're, feel like there's more, this could be the more for you too. And even if it's not that more, you're going to find it beneficial in some way. I just can't imagine anyone not. I've never heard of anyone not. Everyone I've talked to about tapping that's done it has never said, no one of them have said, oh, that was just a waste of time. Never. So
Excellent.
try.
Well,
Yeah.
I also want to just leave you and you out there that we're going to be doing a 8-week, 8-person group that starts on Saturday, July 10th with the eczema community. Chrissy was part of 2 8-week sessions. And so if you just give a little shout out about what the 8-week program was about, that would be really great.
Right. So borrowing benefits, which Gwen mentioned earlier, I have gotten those from every single group tapping I've done. Now, the difference between this 8-week group and the tapping 8-week or the regular tapping groups that you might join are we are the same 8 people. So we form a relationship with each other, and this is amazing. The borrowing benefits that you get from not having to be in the hot seat necessarily, not being the volunteer who's coming up with all these emotions, being able to sit back and tap along and find your own path is also, it's just amazing. Every single time I learn things about myself I didn't know I knew.
Or you didn't know you didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be in this group with other eczema families is tremendous. Coming in the first time, I had no idea how many similarities we all have. We're all in a similar boat. And I have felt like that the group tapping was a lifeline for me. It was the ring, and that brought me back in and helped me understand more about what's going on with our health, and not just our physical health, but our emotional health and our mental health, and being able to include all of that in a holistic type way. To not have to, it was just amazing. Group tapping was absolutely amazing. To have all these other moms going through exactly what I'm going through or have been through, and to just get right on that path as easily as it was, it still kind of blows my mind every time it happens. So the same 8 faces make a huge difference to me. I enjoy getting to see everyone's growth and progress. And I like to hear about what they've seen grow and progress in me too.
Excellent. Chrissy, this has been just wonderful. Thank you so much for being the volunteer to step up to do this so that we can share it with the bigger community.
Yes.
And, if anybody has any questions at all, my website is yourstrongestlife.com. And so if you have any questions, please reach out and I'll be around. So excellent. Thank you so much, Chrissy.
Anytime. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. And thank you all for joining us.